Today we're going to take a tour through Woodbridge, New Jersey. We're here at Menlo Mall, and the question should be, why Menlo Mall? Why Woodbridge, New Jersey? Well, in this episode we are going to really take a look at why Woodbridge is, in my estimation, and this is looking at numbers, why Woodbridge is the most affordable New York City suburb. So we're going to take a look specifically. The properties that we take a look at today are going to be properties that sold under 500. I know many of you who have been watching some of the episodes that I've done earlier, Hoboken and Jersey City and even Montclair, your budget may not be 800,000 or $1 million plus. So if your budget is a little lower, or you may have 500, 600 to spend, but you just don't want to do that on a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom condo, Woodbridge is a place to consider. And I'm going to get into some of the details on the uniqueness of Woodbridge and what it has to offer. We're going to take a look inside the mall just a little bit. I'm going to pan around so you can just see the surrounding here. This is one of the main entrances we have behind me is Cheesecake Factory, which is always a wait getting into. And on the side is Barnes and Noble, which is always occupied when it comes to the cafe. I don't know if you can take a peek inside right now, which is reasonable because we are on a weekday right around lunchtime. So we're going to take a step into the mall in just a few seconds, but today we're going to focus on take a look at 5 different towns, if you want to call them that, within Woodbridge. So Woodbridge is geographically one of the larger towns in the northern end of New Jersey. Woodbridge is in Middlesex County, northernmost township in Middlesex County. So it borders right on Union, directly west of Staten Island. So technically there are places right here in Woodbridge that you can get into New York City in 15 minutes, that being Staten Island. So Staten Island is kind of the forgotten borough, if you will, of New York, but it is New York City. My time estimations of commute, I'm not factoring in Staten Island. However, I do factor in either Manhattan or downtown Brooklyn. So from where we're going to take a look at Ford's is going to be our first stop. Ford's is a 15-minute drive, literally, to get into Staten Island. But to get to downtown Brooklyn is probably about a 40-minute drive. Manhattan would be a little longer, of course, coming from Ford's. One of the unique features about Woodbridge is this is a town that is the oldest original township in the state of New Jersey. Meaning, of all towns that still go by their original charter, Woodbridge is the oldest. All right, so it was chartered in 1669 by King Charles. So it has a lot of history here, been around for a long time. We're going to see a lot of the neighborhoods kind of reflect that as well. So you'll see a lot of neighborhoods that were pre-war, so your early 1900s, classic working class neighborhoods, smaller lots, smaller sized properties. And then we'll, towards the end, see one of the areas, Colonia, which has more land and bigger homes. And obviously there are a few there that go in higher price ranges, which we are going to show a few, just to give an idea of those who may have in mind, all right, if Woodbridge is such a great bargain, what if above 500,000? All right, so what can I maybe get that would be a better bargain in Woodbridge that's not that strictly that bargain purchase. So, but most of the properties we're going to look at today were purchased under 500,000. So going back to how Woodbridge is set up, Woodbridge has 10 small towns, if you will, and they are unincorporated. So you may have heard me mention this in a previous episode when we were in Addison. Unincorporated basically means that it is not an official municipality, meaning it does not have its own local government. So Ford's, for example, Colonia, Island, Avenel, which is just a few of the 10, those are 3 of the 10 that you see on the map. There's one little section, one little square that you'll notice has no name, and that's Menlo Park Terrace, and that would be the 10th that you don't see on the map. Each one of those is part of the town of Woodbridge. They share the same school system, police, fire, everything that's public is under the township. But Like other areas in New Jersey, Short Hills, for example, is actually a part of Millburn. But when you say Short Hills, everyone recognizes Short Hills as a location and they know exactly what you mean. Short Hills Mall is right there in Short Hills, for example, but officially a part of Millburn. Belmead is a part of Montgomery. Upper Montclair is not a town unto itself, it's part of Montclair. So by unincorporated, these are basically sections, smaller areas that are recognized by name and neighborhood, but there are 10 of them that comprise Woodbridge, and that is not the norm in New Jersey by any means. That's unique to Woodbridge. So we're going to take a peek inside really quickly, and we're going to get going on our tour. The first stop again is going to be Ford's. We're going to take a look at 5 different of the towns: Avenel, Woodbridge proper, Island, Colonia, and of course I mentioned Ford's. So let's get started. Welcome to New Jersey Living. I'm Corey Jones and I'm a real estate agent with Compass Real Estate. If you're interested in learning about New Jersey and the surrounding towns, neighborhoods, and property values associated with those locations, be sure to click subscribe and the notification bell to stay aware of all of our upcoming episodes. I work with buyers and sellers of every price range, both in urban areas in Hudson County, around Jersey City, and Hoboken, and even the suburbs of Union County, Essex County, and Middlesex. So if you are looking to make a move or purchase a property, sell a property within a week, within a few months, please do reach out. Let me know. I'll be glad to help you with your process. As you can see directly behind me is Macy's. This is one of the 2 anchor stores here in Millow Mall. So we have both Macy's and Nordstrom on the other end. Just hold on a quick second. We're going to make our way to the other end. I'm going to give you a little bit more history on Millow Mall and why it is so significant to Woodbridge being an affordable place to buy. So as you can see, we are inside the mall right now, and behind me is one of my favorite locations, which is the Apple Store. Anytime I have some type of tech purchase, normally this is the spot. Millow Mall, the history of it is that it is the older of the 2 malls in Woodbridge, and that's a little surprising because if you're in the area, around the area, and you see Woodbridge Mall compared to Menlo Park Mall, where we are right now, this mall certainly has more of a contemporary look to it. This was established in 1959, but it was an open air marketplace at that time. In 1967, this became an indoor mall, and then 4 years later, Woodbridge Mall was made, and it's only a mile from here, which is kind of interesting as well. A town with 2 malls, 1 mile apart each. So, significance of Menlo Park Mall and the other mall is that the benefit that it gives to residents is property taxes. One of the bargains of Woodbridge is not only the market value of homes in terms of being affordable, but the tax rate is lower. Middlesex County is one of the larger counties in the northern section of New Jersey. Middlesex really, truly is kind of a central Jersey county. However, like I said, it's large. The northern end of it, where we are now in Woodbridge, is really neighboring to New York City. So we have a scenario where you have a large county, you have multiple campuses, corporate campuses like Johnson & Johnson, for example, that are in the county, that helps, again, all of the residents of that county. The smaller and more residential a county is, generally speaking, the higher the property taxes are. So that can be seen in counties like Union, Essex, Bergen, for example, which are directly next door to New York City. So for Woodbridge specifically, having 2 malls, having 2 major roadways, Route 1 and Route 9, both passing through it with tons of retail give such a tax benefit for residents. So we're going to take a quick jump over to our first neighborhood, which will be Ford's. Here at our first stop in Ford's and our first sale. Keep in mind, as always, I keep all of the sold properties within the past 30 days, so that is really recent. So you can see what something listed for, what something sold for within the past 30 days of this filming, and we're beginning of June. I go back to about mid-May. Behind me is 337 Crows Mill, listed at $400, sold at $440, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Now this is a corner lot, which Definitely affects taxes. Taxes tend to be a little higher on a corner lot. I know personally because I live on a corner lot and I pay higher taxes because of it. So this taxes last year were just over 10,800. The square footage of this particular property just short of 1,500, 1,472. And this was a property that I don't have photos for this one. I definitely make sure I get permissions before sharing those online. We'll see some other interior photos later in the episode, but this one I don't have photos for. But not newly renovated by any means. There were some upgrades, particularly a very, I'd say, recently done basement, but it's more of a matter of how well maintained this property was. Very well maintained. So this one I'm just pan a little bit so you can see what Crows Mill Road looks like. This is somewhat of a major thoroughfare that leads into Ford's off of 287. 287 440 is the road that cuts through New Jersey, leads directly into Staten Island. So from where I'm standing right now, for me to hop into my car, get on the Parkway, I am probably 10 minutes from New York City, Staten Island that is. But giving you just a little bit of a view, we have an apartment complex directly beside. There are a mix of both commercial and residential down Crows Mill. So Crows Mill is a frequent thoroughfare for sure, which no doubt impacted where the price was marketed at 400, because easily if this was on a side street, tucked a little further into a neighborhood, it would have went even higher. But listed at 400, went 440, well above ask. So this is our first stop. We have quite a few more to take a look. So see you at the next stop. We're here at our next stop, which is 100 Hornsby, directly across the street behind me. This is another corner lot. Smaller home, however, in square footage, just over 1,100 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2 full baths. We have photos here that you can take a look at from the interior. Taxes at $7,400 and change. So noticeable tax difference, $3,000 tax difference between this and the first one, which that one was somewhat of an anomaly when we first looked at the property at 337 Crows Mill. This property constructed in 1924. So this is what I mentioned a little earlier about Woodbridge having history. It's a very older town. You had suburbs dating back pre-war, and this is what it would have looked like pretty much around that time frame. Property lots are not very large. Properties tend to be a little on the smaller side, although you can see right across the street behind me directly, there's a couple of colonials. There's another colonial actually both beside the property directly across the street and directly beside. So this is property listed at $425, sold at $450. So despite being smaller, and even from the exterior standpoint, Crows Mill was a little more updated. This is still something that comfortably sold over list price, right? So going back into why affordability factors in as to why this would be one of the prime areas. As you've seen in every episode that I mentioned, there are 3 factors, and I'm about to pop those up right now, and Woodbridge checks off on each one. Commute to New York City, absolutely. As I said before, we are 15 minutes away from Staten Island, but again, I always factor in either downtown Brooklyn or Manhattan, all right? So within 45 minutes, yes, check mark. Train stations, there are 3 in Woodbridge. So there is an Avenel station, there is Woodbridge proper has a station. Both of those are the North Jersey Shore line, goes directly to the city. And then there is Metro Park, which we saw when I did the Edison episode. And that one has express service. That's in Island. That has express service to Penn Station, 36 minutes. So 3 stations. Commutability is really close. And schools, A-rated. All right, the district as a whole is an A-rated school district on niche. So this checks all the marks. And again, you have opportunity to be in a nice, quiet neighborhood just like this at a very affordable price. So we're going to take a few stops in Fords. There's a couple areas I'd like for you to see before we transition to our next neighborhood. I'll see you there. We're on New Brunswick Ave in Fords. This is the main thoroughfare of this section of town. A lot of commercial, small business. That's very much that small town feel is here. Nail salon, barbershop, bakery. You see a barbecue spot right behind me. Post office down the street. Your car repair garage. Your liquor store across the street. So this stretch right here, a couple more barbershops. This is in terms of just local business. A lot of those just, again, small business. You're going to frequent it. Even like myself, I don't live in this area, but I come to this area primarily for this spot right here. But a local, definitely anything that you need is going to be along this stretch in terms of like some of the more basic things, like basic services, I should say. This right here, we have Jimmy the Barber. This is my go-to spot twice a month to come and get all of this touched up and done. I'm gonna allow Jimmy to just give a quick word. All right, here is my man Jimmy. All right, so good to see you, man. So just to give you a little peek at the shop, this is an appointment-only establishment. Worth the wait, worth the money. I would say if you're in the area, if you're around here, you want to check out Jimmy for sure. All right, Jimmy, thank you. Take care, man. All right, take care. All right, so we have one more spot. There's somewhat of a hidden gem right here in the neighborhood that I want to take a look at and feature before we take our next stop, which would be into Woodbridge proper. See you there. So we're at the dead end of Raymond Street. This is what I referred to a little earlier as one of the hidden gems here in Fords. We're at the Middlesex Greenway. This is essentially a paved trail that was converted from what used to be a railroad line. My family, we often bike this trail. It leads all the way down into Metuchen, downtown Metuchen, which is an exceptional dining spot, social scene. We're going to see that when we eventually do have our Metuchen episode, so just stay tuned and be sure, again, hit notification when so that you get those updates when they come through. So if you're by chance watching this and you've not been out here and you live locally, definitely check it out. All right, so we're off to our next stop, which is going to be in Woodbridge proper. I'll see you there. We're now at the Woodbridge Community Center, which is not a secret whatsoever here in the Woodbridge community. As you can see, this is a relatively large facility. I'm going to pan around just to give you a feel for the area. This is a more open area of the town. You see parking lot, you see commercial buildings. Just quarter mile from here is the Woodbridge Mall, which we'll see at the end of today's episode. Inside, you will find pretty much everything under the sun that a gym would have to offer, or any kind of facility that would be community-based, both fitness, swimming, ice skating, roller skating. They have classes of every kind. There's summer camps here. You name it, when it comes to any kind of community activity for families, it will be here. I'm going to flash up really fast to you, be able to see all the activities that are available at the location, and you also get to see the rates. You have the opportunity to visit this place whether you are a Woodbridge resident or not. I have been here, and it is memorable for me because I almost broke my ankle trying to ice skate here. Very, very long time ago. I have not been back to ice skate since. Roller skate since. But you can see with the fees, they're very reasonable. A family can pay a little over $600 for the year for access to the entire facility. There is a mini golf course in the back. I'll flash a few photos of that. So this is a very, very valuable resource in the community, because easily a gym membership for one person can add up over time and is limited to just gym. This has that plus more. So that entertainment, as well as specific programs for youth. Our next stop is going to be just a short distance from here. We're at pretty much that borderline of Fords and Woodbridge proper. So we're heading to our next property, which is in Woodbridge proper. I'll see you there. We're at our first stop for Woodbridge proper. Pan around, you get a feel for this given section of the neighborhood. Similar to Ford's, a lot of smaller lot sizes, a lot of homes that are pre-war. I believe this is 1915 construction. This is a bungalow style home that you see behind me. Not a lot of square footage, but this particular property was upgraded. So there were some upgrades here, a relatively deep backyard as well. So this listed at $385, sold at $410. And the overall square footage, sometimes it's hard to be very certain between what's in tax record and what the reality is. Tax records on this likely will show what's on the first floor, but there's often an upper level. You can see that there's a upstairs portion that's dormered, so it's relatively a small space. Taxes $7,400, so similar to the Hornsby property that we saw in Ford. From where we are directly around the corner from the downtown stretch, which you're going to see in just a moment. Train station is in that location, and from this spot right here, you're probably talking about a 12-minute walk easily, no more than 15 to the train station if you chose to walk. You see a bungalow here that was certainly expanded and converted. All right, and you see more of a colonial here directly behind me. So there's a bit of a mix on this given block. We're gonna take a stroll down to the downtown stretch just to get a feel for what downtown Woodbridge proper looks like. See you there. So we're about that 12-minute walk directly from Rector, where we just stopped for that first Woodbridge proper property assessment. So here we are now across the block from the Woodbridge station. I'm going to pan around and you're going to see one of two new buildings being erected right here along the train line. And this is something that I've referenced, I believe it was our Plainfield episode. And again, this one you can see behind me, there's another one about a block away. That one I'm not certain whether it is rental or if it's condo. But this development, everywhere there's a train line in North Jersey, this is what you see. This particular line right here, as I referenced at the beginning of the episode, two of the lines, both Woodbridge and Avenel, are part of the North Jersey shoreline that pretty much travels all the way down the shore to Asbury Park, down along the beach stretch of the shore. The other line in the Metro Park is Northeast Corridor, so that runs from New York Penn Station to Trenton, New Jersey. So two different lines run in two different directions, but both run through Woodbridge. So again, one of those very unique features that you have two separate lines in one town. So we're gonna skip right over to Main Street to take a look there. All right, here we are on Main Street. I'm gonna pan back, you can get a little bit of a better look perhaps at the newer construction right along the train line there. I'll pan around and give you a general feel. Nice paved walkway that they have all the way down the Main Street stretch. So this entire stretch that goes down for roughly 2 blocks is just this. Retails, have a bank, offices of every kind, law, see a church across the street. Kind of your typical Main Street small town feel though along this stretch. So this is a section of Woodbridge that you don't have a lot of through traffic really. It's more people who live and do business in this area that are going to go in and out. There are some sections that there's tons of thoroughfare. Island, for example, is in a spot where people are constantly traveling back and forth through different sections of the general, both Middlesex and Union County area. But Woodbridge proper, not so much, stays relatively quiet. So going back historically, just like other areas of New Jersey, Closer to train stations, you're going to find more historic and older properties. So the properties that would be your larger kind of Victorian feel, there's not many in Woodbridge, but those that are here would be in this general area because historically that type of development took place around somewhere in close proximity to a train line. So we are going to leave this area and over to a few properties in Island and wrap things, Risland, Avenel first stop, then Island, and then our final stop will be in Colonia. We're here now in Avenel, in front of 96 Edgerton. This is a property that was on the market for 2 months before going under contract, which is certainly an exception to the rule in this market. A couple reasons being, one, this property really was one that did not have the more recent upgrades, certainly not newly renovated. It listed in early February at $375, eventually sold at $390. 3-bedroom, 1 bath, taxes $6,200, which is quite exceptional to be on a corner lot. You see the fire hydrant in front. That is a pretty nice add-on in terms of a discount you'll get with homeowners insurance, having a close proximity to a fire hydrant, so that certainly is a plus. Property is now across the street on the other corner, coming soon, so it's going to be interesting just from a market standpoint, seeing where the market is right now, which is starting to slow down some, to see what the list price will be and how long that property will take to actually sell, which ultimately comes down to what type of condition is on the interior. Anything on this market, despite the fact that it's slowing down, if there are upgrades that are recent, well maintained or newly renovated, there's going to be significant competition. Just had clients, we went in probably maybe about $30,000 above ask on a property that wasn't newly renovated but had recent upgrades and was well maintained, and fell short. And in this case, it was a cash offer that came in that just blew everybody away. So in this market, again, if there's a demand on it, it's going to be because of those type of renovations. So this is our Avenel stop. We're going to take another stop next into Island. See you at the next stop. We're at our first of 2 quick stops in Island. First stop is 212 Julius, directly here behind me. As you can see, it's a ranch. List price was $389.9, sold at $430. So this was about a month to go under contract. As you can see in the photos here, well maintained. It's not as though it was recently renovated or really new upgrades, but the basement was well done. It was well maintained, presented well. Give you a look at the general surroundings, just to pan around. Pretty much the same style of home, which you'll find in a lot of the Woodbridge neighborhoods. These were all similar Cape style homes, in that there's an upstairs portion. You can see they dormered out on this one directly next door. We are around the corner from both the middle school and JFK, one of the 3 high schools here in Woodbridge. So very conveniently located for those who have school-age children. So we're going to take a quick hop over to really the next block, take a look at one more before we move on to Colonia. Our final Island stop is 213 Rayner Street, and this one, as you see in the photos, the interior photos, totally renovated interior, totally. And compare this to what we just saw on Julius, though, so same neighborhood, same general feel. I'm gonna pan around. Again, you see everything. I mentioned ranch initially because at the first glance, many look like ranches. You don't see the dormer portion upstairs, but these are all smaller capes that in some instances have been dormered out. Look again, the one right behind me, this next door, that's dormered out, creates a tremendous amount of living space upstairs when that type of project is taken on. So this is relatively identical, but listed at $469, sold at $495. All right, so 4-bedroom, 2 full bath. This is a situation that sold a lot faster as well. Listed in early March, was under contract by early April. The dates don't always pan out as accurate. Many of these homes like these, they have one showing weekend, and I mean one. So oftentimes we will list a property on a midweek day, usually maybe a Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday, give enough time for the coming soon announcement to go out. If it is a property like this that is newly renovated, or a property that has the upgrades and well maintained, those I've been describing all along that have high demand, there's one weekend. There's an open house Saturday, sometimes maybe Saturday and Sunday, and a decision is made early the following week. So the actual under contract date doesn't reflect how quickly an offer was accepted, because it goes through attorney review, and that can add time, and then not everyone is super on top of putting in the updated information under contract always. So this right here just gives an example of the difference it makes to have something that is upgraded versus something that still needs a few touches as it hits the market. We're going to revisit that on our concluding scene, because I want to make sure that everyone knows that what Compass, the unique advantage that Compass presents for someone looking to sell a home, that will give you added value in the end in terms of your proceeds. All right, so we're next and final home tours is going to be Colonia. So we'll see you at the next house. We're here at our first Colonial stop. This is, of the 3 properties I'm going to do in Colonia, this is the only one that has sold. The next 2 we're going to see are active. This right here, 121 Florence Ave. This is a split level that had an original list price, I want to say $469, ends up selling at $480. I may be a little off on the list price, but I know it sold $480. You'll see with the flash up of all the details. Just to pan around, this section of Colonia is on par with Avenel, relatively identical. However, what you can see is that there is a little more diversity in home styles. So this one is a split. You can see the next 2 were, it seems like a cape that was expanded, and the Colonial that is next door to that likely was built from the ground up. What's happening in this neighborhood extensively are rebuilds where investors will knock down, level a home all the way down to the slab. There are a good number of properties in this area that don't have basements. Some do, but not all. Continue to pan back this way. You can see behind me on this side, you can see a lot of the kind of bungalow style homes there. So this area does have a little higher demand because of Colonia High School. Colonia High School is a highly rated high school among the 3. And some people just prefer that. And the other reason for Colonia, which we're going to see in these next 2 properties, in addition to, I should say, with a couple pictures I'm about to flash up now with an example of some of the new builds that are happening in this area, you can get a larger new build home in Colonia more so than the other areas. You don't find as much development and as much land, and I think the investors go where they see the dollar figures, and they know that Colonia, the Colonia area, has that kind of demand. So this right here, again, comfortably went above ask. The next 2 are going to be the ones I have referenced at the beginning of the episode. For those who are not necessarily the bargain shopper, you're like, okay, Corey's doing a episode of everything in the 500s. I will save a couple. If you're still looking for bargains and your budget is something that can flex up towards $1 million or $1 million plus, you're going to get to see what Woodbridge can provide in that price range as well. So sit tight. Let's take a look at these next 2 coming up, and I'll see you there. We're at 60 Sherman now in Colonia, and as I pan around, you can see the example of the difference in neighborhood, both lot size, size of home. So in all of Woodbridge, only Colonia really has this type of neighborhood dynamic where lot sizes and homes are going to be like this. Obviously, your price points are going to reflect that. This home is 5-bedroom, 2 full baths, 2 halves, basically 4,400 square feet, listed at 1.1 million. This particular property does have, as we'll see here, there's a 3-car garage, and just to pan again, giving a look at how the general neighborhood aesthetics are. It's almost like a park-like setting here. From going from a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, very nice and very convenient location in a Newport or Paulus Hook, Hamilton Park, the Village, or wherever you may be downtown Jersey City. But you take a little bit of a trip away, and this is truly a little bit. We're talking about 35 minutes out. This is pretty much what you can have. All right, so we're gonna take one more stop at another active listing in this neighborhood. So I'll see you there. We're at our final stop at 12 Parsons. Seems like we always seem to find a landscaping crew somewhere along the way. 12 Parsons, this one is listed at 1.699 million. 7-bedroom, 8 full bath, 1 half. They seem to have some work going on one. They have 2 bridges basically. You can see each are taking you from the roadway into the driveway. There's a, you can give a better look down here. There's like a ditch in front of the home separating it from the street. Get around the trucks here just to give you a more full view. Certainly a contemporary style colonial. And no listed square footage on this one, but given what we just saw, I would say it's safe to say it probably would be in the 4,500 plus range in terms of total square footage. General neighborhood is even more park-like in this given location, just to pan you around a little. So we're going to take one last stop for this episode at Woodbridge Mall, just to give a little summary. And again, hang on for those who are considering selling a property and you're wondering what I may have been referencing a little earlier with using a Compass product called Concierge to do a few upgrades that could make a significant difference in the demand and final selling price point of your home. All right, so I'll see you at the final spot. So we're here at the Woodbridge Mall complex. I'm concluding right in front of Bahama Breeze. That's one of my favorite spots in the immediate mall area. It's Jersey, so there's absolutely a ton of mom and pop local things, and you have some chains that are pretty decent. Bahama Breeze is a pretty decent chain. Pan around, you'll be able to see really much of the parking lot, not too much of the mall itself. This mall, at one point, the anchors were JCPenney and Sears. So you can imagine, Sears going out of business and JCPenney not being, maybe what it was, 30 years ago. Although there is a Macy's here. This mall does not get the same traffic as Menlo does. But we are strategically placed. If Avenel is on one side, Woodbridge proper on another, Island and Colonial on another, 4 is just below us. I mean, it's strategically placed. Routes 1 and 9 join together to run all the way up into Elizabeth, Newark, right by New York City. They split just about where we are right now, with 9 going down towards the shore, all the towns and counties along the shore, and 1 really going more towards the central part of the state, down towards Trenton. So in concluding what we saw today, as I mentioned at the beginning, I wanted to focus on affordability. The properties that we looked at, for the most part, all sold under 500. Of those that sold under 500, Only one was with taxes above 9,000. The others were, for the most part, mid-7. There was the one in Colonia that was 8,600. So affordability is certainly something that can be attained in Woodbridge itself. One thing that I had been mentioning to hang on to talk about was about Compass Concierge. So one thing I wanted to point out with a few of the sales is the difference of having upgrades. When you're looking at selling a home, those who are homeowners and you're considering buying, but you also still have to sell, or maybe you're just watching this episode learning about what else is going on in the area in preparation of selling your home. The investment of $25,000, $35,000 can easily yield 50 or 60 more, increase of 50 or 60 more in terms of sale price of your home. And you may think, just say on the conservative side, if I put 35 in, Corey, I'm getting 50. Is that 15 that important? The significance of the renovations is not only the profit, the significance is the demand. You'll have greater demand, the speed of the sale is faster, and the number of offers on the property definitely increase substantially when you do have those upgrades. So when you think about doing some upgrades, Compass Concierge allows that to happen without you having to invest money out of pocket. It is zero interest, so it's a zero cost to access those finances. Is basically taken out of proceed at closing. So if you need to touch up a kitchen, if you need to touch up some bathrooms, which are the key features that people look at when they come in, or if you need a fresh coat of paint, need to refinish floors, some of these aesthetics that make the difference between a home that somebody comes in and says, hey, this is turnkey, I can move into this tomorrow, versus someone saying, still needs a little love, a little TLC. I have to keep that in the back of my mind when I'm considering this. So having 5-6 offers versus 15 to 20 can be that difference. And having the ability to choose between a greater number of offers usually means you're going to have some better options in that number as well. So that's something that, you have more questions about, feel free to reach out to me. All my information is in the details below. If you enjoyed today's episode, if you want to stay in touch as we come into your neighborhood, or if you want to drop a suggestion, hey Corey, when you come into my neighborhood, all right, just feel free to drop me a comment. Definitely hit subscription. Definitely click the notification bell to stay updated on our future episodes. So it's been a pleasure with you, those who are going along with me on the Jersey hunt. So we'll see you in the next episode. Be safe.